Welcome to the Carolina Turkey product presentation training video. Carolina Turkey is the leader in the production of the finest turkey products in the world today. Now, we are raising the bar in the marketing and sales of turkey products. At Carolina Turkey, we understand that turkey meals are something special, the centerpiece of holidays and other special occasions. We also understand that today's health-conscious consumers enjoy turkey as part of their daily diets. Therefore, Carolina Turkey strives each day to deliver quality products at a reasonable price. Carolina Turkey, your source for easy menu items. This training video is broken into 3 sections. In Section 1, our certified executive chef, Chef Graham Taylor, will show you how to do the plate applications. In Section 2, Chef Graham will review how to set up the display with our Carolina salespeople. Finally, in Section 3, Mike Constantini will explain why we want our products cooked or heated in an AltoSham oven at all major presentations. You will need to order this piece of equipment into your market when you order your show booth. At Carolina Turkey, we're always thinking of ways to do things better, and we're happy to share with you Chef Graham's wonderful ideas for preparing appetizing and attractive dishes for display at sales presentations and food shows. Carolina Turkey, your source for easy menu items.
Hey, good morning. My name is Graham. I represent Carolina Turkey for the Southeast region. Today, we're going to go through a very quick process of showing how a typical food show setup should be made. But primarily, first of all, we should decide on what kind of plates that we like to choose. One of my favorite plates would be this one here. This, I would say, is a fun plate. And today we're going to choose this particular one here to go with our sandwich. The second one is going to be a classical dinner item, which is going to be a turkey dinner. And it's going to be portrayed on this one. And this is a great presentation plate. It has nice color balance, and it'll go nicely with the color of the vegetables also. And thirdly, we're going to be doing a salad. And I think the salad would look kind of nice on this plate. Some nice mauves and purples on this plate with a green inside border, but a very, very white contrasting plate. In actual fact, either one of these 2 plates would be nice, but the nice purples does bring out the color of the food. And so the first ingredients for this particular sandwich is a nice pumpernickel rye bread. It can be sliced thick or it can be thin, but today I'm going to slice it nice and thickly. The suggestion here is in the recipe a honey Dijon mustard, which is spread on both sides of the bread. This has a nice flavor to it. This is a nice contrast to the actual richness of the turkey. A couple of slices of the red leaf lettuce here. Grilled vegetables, previously grilled. A couple slices of eggplant placed on here like this. And a few zucchinis, 1, 2, 3. Any kind of roasted vegetables would be nice. Red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers. I have some portobello mushrooms here also. And of course, using the Carolina turkey, naturally roasted turkey, maybe 4 or 5 slices. The idea here is to make this a wow effect for our customers that come past at our trade show. 4 or 5 slices like this. Wow, this is a nice sandwich. And then the lid goes on. Sometimes we can cut this in half, and it could be garnished with a toothpick and with any kind of pickle there. Today I've chosen a little dill pickle. The most important part about this sandwich is the wow effect. When our clients come by, they want to be able to see this sandwich as it really is portrayed. So this is a grilled vegetable sandwich with the Carolina turkey. What do we garnish it with? Potato chips are good. Today I got some pretzels here, which will be placed nicely on here like this. Any other kind of garnish would also be nice. Would be some vegetables, carrots, zucchinis, cucumbers with a little bit of natural dip. That's it. The next item is a salad using the just perfect smoked honey turkey. This has been previously diced. This can be cut into thin strips, but in this particular case, dicing is good. Medium dice is what we might call this. I've also previously cut up some apples. I chose red and green apples today. The red apples create a tartness to the dish, and the green apples provide a nice sweet item to it. Other ingredients would be either feta cheese or a crumbled blue cheese. Today I'm using a feta cheese in this particular recipe. We also have some pecans, toasted pecans, and also some watercress. Being careful not to put too much of this in because this is a little bitter item to use. So, using the turkey breasts, we put in a little apple, green and red apple, some feta cheese, chopped pecans, and like I said, just a little bit of this cress, otherwise it will get too bitter. And to finish this off, we have a vinaigrette. This vinaigrette is made with apple cider and olive oil, and the proportion of this is 3 parts oil to 1 part vinegar. And we just spoon this in here like so. Probably 4 of these. Prior to dressing this, I would suggest we do make a garnish. In this particular case, I bought today some radicchio lettuce. This stands up quite nicely for a show. Using other softer leaf lettuce, it may not last as long. So pick the nicest and the most firmest of radicchio lettuce and put it on the plate like so, so you can get a nice round presentation. It's also served with a little bit of cornbread or corn sticks. These are previously baked. These add for a nice garnish and complement the turkey nicely also. 3 pieces will be good for this, like so. And then we just toss these together nice and lightly. And then this gets placed in the center of the salad, like so. My suggestion too here might be to garnish the top also with some walnuts or some pecans. Just for a little color, like this. Little Belgium endive, just for that added finish touch also. Finally, the last presentation is of a typical turkey dinner. This is the Carolina boneless breast. This has been previously slacked out in a refrigerator. This is ready to be cooked. Here is the product already cooked. You'll notice that it has slacked out. It looks like a typical boneless breast of turkey. It's an ideal item for this particular application. As you can see, this is a pure, all 100% meat. Beautiful condition, nice and juicy. And I think I'm going to do 5 slices for this particular presentation. In this particular recipe, as we said, we're going to do a traditional turkey dinner using our 5 slices of turkey, some carrots, some corn, a little sauce that I previously made here. First, I want to show you that I made some mashed potatoes here. These mashed potatoes do have some herbs already mixed into them. And to improvise, most of us don't have tubes and piping bags. And I took today a little Glad bag, or a bag I should say, a plastic bag, which can be used as a piping bag. I snip the end off, and this just forces through there like so. So there's no need to go out and buy a piping tube for this application. The mashed potatoes get put into here. Remember that this particular plate is purely a show plate. Our customers will not be eating this, so it's important that we make up a nice presentation. I chose also today a plain star tip, or a plain tip as opposed to a star tip. Star tips are traditionally used more for desserts than they are used for savory items. Securing the plate, traditionally mapping out the item on the plate. The potatoes are usually piped towards the back in a circular motion like this. And this is probably plenty for our turkey dinner. And the next step along this process, because the food is kept for several hours on display, food does deteriorate. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a glaze to go over these next items that do go on the plate. I previously made some aspic jelly. This aspic jelly is in a ratio of 4 ounces per quart. This has to be cooked out. The recipe is available for you. Secondly, what we need also is a table or a cloth like this, which has been previously dampened. The process of dredging the meat through the aspic jelly and onto the cloth helps to stop it from sticking, stays moist underneath. So the action of doing this would be to pick up the turkey like this and literally dredge this through here, letting it drip out and placing as far away from the bowl as possible. If I was to put the turkey here and drip across, I would have drippings all over the place. So it's important that we pick up the meat, dip it nicely, let it drain off, and place it as far away as possible. It's important that the surface of the meat also is cold whilst you do this, then the jelly will set up more quickly. This is we do this with every single process, with every single item, even every single carrot. The carrots that I'm coming on to now, the carrots have been previously cooked in some boiling salted water, and then the cooking is stopped in some iced water. Then we literally place all those in there like so, and we pick those out one by one, and we place them like so over here. And you can see the shine is coming on these quite nicely already. You would go through this process 4 times or 5 times so that they get a beautiful coating on them. As you can see, the jelly does fall off of it and it goes inside, but if you dip it several times, each time you must put it in the refrigerator so that the whole surface does remain cool. And finally our corn, which is going to go on our nice turkey dinner. So there we go. These have been dipped 5 times. Now we come to the presentation part of the dish, where we're going to put it all together. It's important that the colors do match. The plate presentation, for example, is so important. The colors on the plate. So we're going to line up each piece like this. It's beautiful, nice glaze to them. And this is an awful lot, but it's a nice big portion. And then we're going to slide maybe some of these carrots in through here before we put that last final piece on, the turkey. So corn on the cob as well here and here. And just to cover this up nicely with that, like so. Got a little sprig of thyme, which will last quite a lot of hours. And then to place the sauce on, this is quite important too, where you place the sauce. This is a turkey gravy made earlier on, and I would suggest maybe we put a lid on either side. We don't want to cover up the meat because this is what we're trying to showcase. And there we go, that's our turkey dinner. Now I've just moved this presentation over here, and we're going to go through a typical food show setup, and I'm going to invite 3 of our salespeople, our sales representatives from Carolina, to come and join me, and we're going to go through the breakup and setup of this program. What do you think, Bob?
Looks good.
Okay.
Looks good.
All right, guys. Now, in this particular setup, we have the following items. We have a container for our point of sale items, which go nicely in here. In here would be a recipe and menu development brochures. And as you know, the company has pictures and costings on this as well.
You mean we can put in our own costings on the brochures?
Yes, you can.
Can we put our company names and phone number?
Yes, you have a logo. You can put
Contact.
your business card on the back and anything like that. So anything to promote your own brokerage in your own state. So let's break this down now. With these 3 plates. Now the plates we talked about earlier on can be your own choice. However, you do want something colorful and something that's going to showcase the plates nicely. And as I said earlier on, it is what we might call fun food when we do these food presentations. Also in this kit will come a fish net, probably in a gold color like this, a little presentation tablecloth. This whole presentation takes up around about 4 feet. You will get a 6-foot table. 4 feet is for these actual plates. 2 feet might be for writing your orders for your customers. And then finally you'll have an end section over here of about 2 feet for where you can cook your roast turkey items. Let's continue underneath here for the presentation of tiering the plates like you just saw earlier on are some 4x4s. And you'll get 3 of those. You'll see they're all at different heights so that we got some nice elevation of all the plate presentation. So that's going to be in your kit. Now that we've finished, I think that now when we do our food shows booth setups, you're going to feel a bit more comfortable with the presentation from now on. So that concludes what we're about to do here today. We've shown you how to put the food on the plates. We've shown you how to put together the booth itself. So let's turn it over to Michael Constantini, and he'll show you how to actually cook the turkey using the Ultrasham ovens. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mike Constantini. I'm with Unisource Marketing Group. I've been asked to speak today on behalf of Carolina Turkey. And the reason for today is we are looking at a different way of cooking the Carolina Turkey product. I've been approached by Carolina. They have selected the Ultrasham oven. The reason they've selected Ultrasham is because of the way that Ultrasham cooks, maintaining 98% humidity in the cavity, in the oven cavity, for cooking of the product. It will give us the best results for maintaining moisture and presenting a consistent, even product. What we've done, we've invited a gentleman who owns a food broker company in Florida. It's called FoodLink. The gentleman's name is Michael Garvin. Garvin?
Right.
Michael, should come on in. I'll introduce this oven to you. And it's good to see you again.
Nice
Good to
to
see you again. The Alto-Shaam oven, what we're doing here, unlike the current way that you're all cooking turkey or some of your customers are, they're using convection ovens or they're using a conventional oven. The problem with that is the air movement inside that cavity is starting to strip moisture out of that turkey. Turkey products primarily made up about 90% of water, and by doing so, that air movement will eventually pull out more moisture from the product and giving us less yield. The Alto-Shaam oven, which is kind of very exclusive, known very well in the industry, has a great branded name, does not use any air movement whatsoever. If you look inside the cavity, what you're going to see, there's no fan, there's no louvers, therefore we are using radiant heat, which is surrounding the product and maintaining the product's natural juices inside the oven cavity. Very simple to operate. One thing you want to remember, we're dealing with humidity here. And the oven, the way we trap the humidity in here is by the use of door vents. It's very important when we use the door vents, when we're doing a poultry item, that we keep the door vents closed. If we were doing a meat product or a potato, starch of that sort, we would go ahead and we crank the door vents to alleviate some of that moisture. We'll still get some good coloring with the door vents closed. A lot of people would ask, is there, with that type of steam environment, what kind of final product are we going to get? You'll see when the product comes out of here that you've got some great coloring.
So if we leave this vent open, we will get a lot more coloring out of it?
You would get more coloring if you wanted to really crisp up your turkey product. By opening the vent and leaving in that moisture, you would do that. You'd probably sacrifice maybe 1% yield, so it wouldn't be too bad. But my recommendation, because of some of the methods that you may do, overnight cooking, long-term holding, is keeping them closed. As far as loading the oven itself, this is a small unit. We've selected, or Carolina selected this unit because of the compactness of it, so it can be mobilized and brought to trade shows or to customers' actual place of operation. 125 volt hookup, which is real accommodating. As far as the function of the unit, we're going to run through it real quick. This isn't an electronic oven, and it's very simple. There's an on-off button, which you go ahead and turn the unit on. Once the unit turns on, the first thing you're going to see is a light illuminating in the hold mode and displaying of the hold temperature. Right now it's displaying 160 degrees. This temperature can be adjusted by simply pressing the hold button and either scrolling down or up on the arrows. We're going to select a temperature of 160 degrees for holding for our product. Okay. So now we've selected the hold. However, now the next thing we need to do is go in and select our cook temperature, indicated here under cook. We select cook. Again, it's going to display a temperature, and we want to go ahead and adjust accordingly by scrolling. And today we're going to select 275 degrees cooking. We found that that's an ideal temperature for getting that brownness of the product and then switching to that hold of 160. There's now two different things we can do here. We can cook by time, or which is very nice about this particular oven, why Carolina again selected it is because it takes away a lot of the guesswork. We're going to cook by probe temperature. So what we're going to do is select probe. We want to target our final internal temperature. What would be best at that time is, because of the way the system works, it cooks first and then it goes into hold. Remember, when it switches from cook to hold, we're still holding about 250 degrees, 275 temperature for about an hour. So there's going to be a carryover continuation of cooking. So what we're going to do when we select probe is we're going to select a temperature about 30 degrees below your desired temperature. So we're going to go about 135, and then you're looking for your ideal at 165. Once this is programmed, your cook is programmed, your hold is programmed, your probe is programmed, we'll just go ahead and we'll hit start. This is now going to display the temperature inside the oven. Obviously, one step will be done before that. That is putting the product in, taking the probe, and inserting the probe.
Where exactly should we insert it in the probe? In the thickest part of the meat?
Excellent question, yes. Very important when you are probing it. We should take the product, the turkey loin, and get a good grip on it to try and work the probe into the center of the meat. One of the biggest errors is misprobing. Make sure we go into the product, doesn't come out the side or go out the end. And when we are putting the probe in, we want to make sure we're not doing any wiggling. So what happens, sometimes the probe goes in, Customer will wiggle it around, the operator, to try and make sure it's in the right spot.
So
But
we won't get a true reading at that point.
what they've done, they've actually cored the hole a little larger. So just tell them, quick thrust, they're in, and you're good. And again, by pinching the loaf, it allows that better contact. Placing the product directly on the wire shelf is desirable for larger pieces of meat. If you're dealing with small loins, putting them on a low pan will be okay. If we're doing overnight cooking, putting it in a deep pan, an aluminum 2.5 would be even more desirable to maintain moisture.
So the more product we have, it should actually be on the top of the oven, is that correct?
Correct. Again, with radiant heat here, you will have a little bit higher temperature at the top of the oven, so always load your oven from the center down. Especially if we're doing overnight cooking, from the bottom, from the center down again, with your heaviest pieces on top to protect itself.
Mike, should we be concerned actually with that prolonged holding time in the oven?
You know, a lot of people ask that. What you have with this oven, you have a large heating cable, and that cable is broken into 3 sections, 2 high temperature, 2 high wattage sections, and 1 low temperature, low wattage section. Wattage is what cooks, and low wattage is impossible to cook with. So once those high temperatures turn off and we go into the hold mode, then we are bringing in low wattage, and it's only going to maintain the temperature that we set at in the environment. The product temperature will not, the internal temperature of the product cannot go over that 160 degrees.
So actually, when we actually hold it overnight, then we should not be opening the oven at all.
Correct. And it really, even if you're cooking during the day and you load the oven, once it's loaded, you want to trap that humidity in there. Remember, as it's depleting the moisture from its product, because all product has to let go in order to cook, if I open the door and dump that steam out, I'm going to have to pull more steam, and that's going to come from the product. So we don't want to do that. The yield. Eventually it would.
The texture of the product.
And the time to cook it, right. So we want to close the door, leave the door closed, and be done with it. When we do trade shows, sometimes it's not a bad idea to put a key lock in the handle, or what we do if there's no key lock, we just tape it closed, put a sign usually over top of it, or a towel to cover the controls so people don't really see the controls running and think there's something going on. We just put cooking in process, please don't disturb.
Mike, in the past I've seen some people will put a little tray of water in the bottom of the altar shelf. Is that necessary or not?
It's a good question, because sometimes, again, if we're cooking overnight, this is only a 40-pound capacity of product, of oven cavity. If we put like a 10 or 15-pound roast in there, we have got about 35 pounds of air. So you'd want to compensate for that if we're doing an overnight cook. In this particular oven, you really don't have to, because it's that small. If I was doing an overnight cook and I only had a small piece, then I would put like a half a cup of water directly in the drip pan. And again, I don't want to fill it with water, because then I'm going to have standing water and standing steam. I really want it to evaporate and create a dry, humidified environment. That's what we're looking for. So, excellent question if we're doing those prolonged holds and those cooks overnight. So you would do that, but again, really you would want to gauge that on what your product came out the day before. Most of your trade shows are more than 1 day, correct?
Absolutely, 2 days normal.
I would give it a trial run the first day, or even test it, and then add water accordingly.
Mike, also on this, we've got a nozzle here. Can you explain the purpose of that nozzle first, please?
Basically what you've got is a drip pan on the bottom, and the drip pan is for picking up your au jus and your gravies, and in most cases taking this whole pan out if you're doing a large load. Again, because the size, I don't see that ever filling, but if it did, it's basically a drain off, or it draws off, so you can take your au jus into a smaller pan and then bring it up for carving and dipping and things of that sort. So that's a nice feature that Autosham is included in the oven. What I want to show you is, now when we have the product loaded in the oven, we selected our cook temperature of 275, we selected our hold temperature of 160, and we selected our probe temperature of 135. Assuming we had product in here right now, we would have probed it, and the product would be in the oven. The oven, as you notice, is displaying a temperature and a time. The temperature is the 106 degrees right now, is the temperature of the product. Now obviously there's no product in the oven, but it's showing air temp. I want you to see how the oven switches from cook to hold. So right now it's telling you it's been in there for 10 minutes, and it's now displaying 110. When this gets to 135, you're going to hear a tone, and you're going to see the light go from cooking over to holding, and then it will start displaying a new elapsed time. When you come in the next day or later on that afternoon, you'll see it's been holding for 8 hours, and you can do a backwards calculation, see how long it actually took to cook to achieve that 135. So that's a nice feature. Another nice thing about the oven, as you just saw that I did, you can come by and check your homework, check your work, or check your partner's work, make sure that the calculations or the temperatures and times were picked simply by depressing the button. And you notice it will show and display the times accordingly.
Mike, have they changed the seals in those ovens in the last couple of years?
Actually, they have. What's very nice, what Sham has done, is they've come out with this single-walled gasket, much like a dive mask, and it creates a perfect seal around the oven. When this oven is hot and you close the door, you will actually hear a hissing of a suction, evacuating of the air in the oven, which is maintaining that 98% humidity. Another great feature is on the oven is that they've come out with removable gaskets. You can do it with your fingers, no tools required, and it's something that you guys can do yourself in the field.
I think in the past this became pretty labor intensive.
It was very labor intensive in the past. This is something that on the TH3 series that they've brought that in. So the temperature is now about 115, so as we're talking and looking at some other features, you're going to see that switch over. Okay. My recommendation, as we see the temperature's coming up, so we should hear that tone shortly. My recommendation for going to a show and displaying the oven and the product would be having, most of your booths have a 8-foot or 6-foot table.
8-foot table probably.
I would suggest rolling this oven. Oh, here we go. Okay, what we've done, we've achieved the 135. As you can see, we've gone into the hold mode now, and the time is displaying 0, and it's showing your actual hold temperature. If we want to come in and review the product temperature, simply hit probe, and it shows that your probe is reading 139 degrees now. It's gone from the 135 and it's carrying up. And then you'll see the product over time carry up into that zone. And you'll be at that ideal temperature of 165 that you're trying to achieve.
Mike, there's one other question that I want to talk to you about. We've got some new products here. Let me just get it.
Okay.
It's our Just Perfect Turkey Breast and our Carolina Classic Naturally Roasted.
Looks like a pre-cooked product, yes?
That's exactly right, and that's what my question is. Can we bring those up to temperature in this oven? Is that possible?
Excellent question, sure. The Autosham would not just be used for raw product. It does an excellent job on raw, but on these pre-cooked products, depending on how they've been cooked, there's still going to be some moisture retention in there. And when you go to rethermalize these and bring them back to temperature, the use of an Autosham in that type of radiant heat environment, you're going to maintain those juices that are in here. You might lose a very small percentage, but it's an excellent question. You can do the same method. Probe the product, pick your temperatures. Your temperatures, your cook temperature and your hold temperature will be the same for a pre-cooked product as it would be for a raw product. It's just going to bring it back that much quicker. Once it reaches temp, pull it. In this case, if you don't want to do the holding, probe it to the final internal temperature, 165. When it achieves it, go ahead and pull the product out. You could still do an overnight. If you do an overnight, then again, drop your 35 degrees temperature, 30 to 35 degrees temperature. But that's an excellent question.
So pretty idiot proof and
Pretty idiot proof. You know, work out really well. Okay. Getting back to the way we want to display the oven. As an operator, as a restaurateur, this obviously would be faced away from the customer. What we recommend for the show usage to best display the Carolina turkey and the way that the product's being cooked and to draw attention into the booth is we face the oven out in the aisle much like it's displayed here. Reason being, you can come around your table, open your door, you evacuate steam, bring the product out, you will grab more attention from your customer. Walk it around, talk about the product, talk about the method of cooking, and display the product. And really what Carolina turkey is going to benefit the most from this is the consistency. This oven, if cooked on this sequence, will produce the same product every single time. And taking that assurance to the customer, making them feel better that pretty much anyone can do it for them, that's a benefit for everybody. So this is what we recommend doing, this type of setup in the booth. And what you're seeing here is 2 pieces of equipment, not just one. This just lifts off. It can be done on top of a table, or it can be done on the unit like this. 2 separate hookups, electrical.
Mike, we looked at this earlier on. It's a wonderful looking carving station. Could you explain to us exactly how this works? Does the heat come from the top, or is it actually generated from the lamp here on the...
I'm glad you mentioned that. As I showed to you earlier, it is a separate unit. The unit will lift off, can be used countertop or on this. Most traditional carving stations typically use a top heat, okay? what we do with Autosham, we use a bottom heat as well. What I want to do, let's just spin this unit around so we can have a better look at it. This way. There we go. Okay. What you have here, you've got a thermostatic dial and you have two toggle switches. The one toggle switch is going to operate your heat. This is a 100-watt halogen light, so there is some heat coming down to keep, basically, the biggest misnomer with carving stations are that you actually will cook product once it's sitting on a table because the heat's so intense. What we're looking to do here is to pretty much create a warmed environment to stop air conditioning and things of that sort from hurting the product. The main heat, which is really unique with this particular carving station, is the bottom heat. By turning on this toggle switch here and turning your dial, which is from 1 to 10, you will see the light come on, and your radiant heat will come from the pad.
Mike, and the carving station here, what temperature does the top of this get to?
What we have a thermal pad underneath the surface here, and the thermal pad is going to radiate anywhere between 200 and 225 degrees, bringing the heat into the thermal cutting board. This board is very rigid, very rigid, and as it heats, it will become very pliable. So laying this board on the pad, it will radiate the heat through into your product, holding that moisture into to the Carolina turkey product, and therefore not creating the seepage or the bleeding of the product. So it's a much gentler way of holding the product, prolonged holding for carving and for serving.
Everything will stay pretty clean on the top with not that many pieces on it.
Correct, correct. So why don't we spin the unit back around so we can finish some more operation. Okay.
What is the ideal wattage we should have?
Okay, there's again two separate units. You're going to run the top unit at 125 volt, normal plug, no different configuration. You're going to run about 6 amps. The bottom unit, however, again is 125, but it's going to have a special plug configuration where it's going to have to go into a 20 amp circuit. So if you're making booth arrangements and working out with the electrical documents, specify a 20 amp line.
That's very important.
Yes, very important that you do that. If not, you're going to have a problem trying to get this hooked up. What you don't want to run into is getting to these show electricians that like to cut off your plug and make it work. You don't want them to do that. Make sure that that outlet is there, because this oven is going to be moved around at different Carolina events.
So continuity for the temperature is very, very important to us.
Exactly, exactly. Other than that, the reason that Carolina and Autosham is teamed together is to show the best way to present the Carolina product to the ultimate end user, make it easier for the operator to serve it, and keep that consistency. So teaming together Carolina and Autosham and Unisource and
Mike, this is wonderful. We're very, very, very excited about this. It's certainly the way to go, and it's the way of the future, and appreciate all your help and your knowledge on the product.
very good.
Thanks.
As you've seen today, Carolina Turkey is asking you, our sales professional, to create a presentation that shows Carolina Turkey as a category leader. The easy menu items are simple to prepare and display. And the Autosham oven is ideal for preparing both raw and further processed turkey items. Thank you for your time today and for your continued efforts to sell Carolina Turkey in a whole new way. Carolina Turkey, your source for easy menu items.